for helium, and for hydrogen. So next, look here. So these are all the very important uh, theory you should understand, or modifications carried out in kinetic theory of gases to explain the deviation from ideal behavior. When you are studying the real gases, we have understood that real gases show deviation from ideal behavior, but these deviations are to be supported by the theories. So two important modifications have been carried out in the kinetic theory of gases. First postulate. What is the first postulate of kinetic theory of gases? The volume of gaseous molecules when comparing with the total volume of the gas is negligible, because each gas molecule is considered as a point mass, a small tiny particle. These tiny particles put together, if you measure the total volume of all the molecules and you compare this with the volume of the gas itself, you are getting almost 0.014% of the total mass is the mass of the molecule, which is highly negligible. So this is applicable only at low pressures. When the pressure greater than 100 atmosphere, volume of the gas decreases. See, you are compressing. The volume of the gas decreases, but the total volume of the molecules remain the same, because molecules are very tiny, rigid, incompressible molecules. So at high pressures, volume of the molecules is not negligible. This is the first point. So the kinetic theory of gases, the postulates given by the kinetic theory of gases, which is true at only low pressures. Which is true only at low pressures. But at high pressures, what happens? The total volume of the gas molecules is not negligible at high pressures. So this is the first modification made in the kinetic theory of gases for the first postulate. Now the second postulate says the intermolecular forces are negligible. Even this also valid only at a low pressure and a high temperature, because at low temperature and at low pressure and at high temperature, the molecules are far apart. Hence, they cannot have any intermolecular forces. But at high pressure and low temperature, certainly molecular forces cannot be neglected. So the molecular forces are appreciable, and they have an appreciable amount of influence in the characteristics of the gas molecules. So this is another correction made in the kinetic theory of gases. So these are all the two modifications carried out in the kinetic theory of gases to explain the behavior of real gases. So having these two corrections in mind, we are going to derive an equation for the real gases. This is how the real gas equation has come. Actually, in the real gas equation, we have a pressure correction term and a volume correction term. So instead of a P and V, we introduce a corrected pressure and a corrected volume, which is equal to nRT. So the pressure correction and the volume correction, these two corrections have come from these two modifications in the two postulates of kinetic theory of gases. What are the modifications? Their volume is not negligible at high pressures. Second correction, the intermolecular forces are not negligible at high pressure and low temperatures. So with these, we come to end of today's class, and we will be deriving the other equation in the next class. Thank you very much.